Make the ground shake.
What is going on, guys? We're playing some more NHL 16 today, doing some NHL 17 predictions. We're doing the Central Division this week, the last prediction video before the NHL 17 beta comes out. So we'll be getting some beta videos out next week. If there's any other prediction video you can't think of that you guys want to see before then, try to drop it in the comments below. Maybe we'll be able to pop it out. But as for this video, we're going to go over to make sure we're going to clear something up here real quick before we get into this. And that's when we go over overalls for teams, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win that division. That's where they're going to finish 1, 2, 3, 4 in that division. It's more or less what I think EA is going to give them based on what they had last year plus how they did last year and, you know, going into the season. That overall can obviously change. I say that because this is probably going to be the one video for the divisions that's going to surprise you guys the most when you do see who I have at number one. A lot of you are not going to be happy about it, but I'm going to try to explain why I have them there, and we're going to do the best we can to go over that. So as always, guys, stay tuned. Hope you like the video, or I hope you like the video. Let me know what you guys think, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So coming in here with an 87 overall is the Winnipeg Jets. It was an 89 last year. They only had 78 points this year. It was kind of a down season for them. 2.59 goals per game, 20th best in the league. 2.88 goals allowed per game, 22nd. Dead last in power play percentage. Like I said, it was a disappointing year after a 99-point season last year, 2015 season that is. I could definitely see them maybe having higher than an 87 overall, just for the fact that they did finish worse in the division, though. I'm going to give them an 87. I won't be surprised to see them get an 88 either. But, because, they still have a lot of young guys coming up. Wheeler, Scheifele are going to be some great players. Dustin Byfuglien obviously led them their D-men in points and is a big hitter as well in defense. They lost Andrew Ladd throughout the season, of course. I'd expect to see more out of they expect to see Patrick Lane play this year, so see what kind of contributions he has. Of course, I'd like to see Hellebuck play more goalie for him this year. Last year, he was their best goalie that they didn't really rush him up and play him all the time. Coming in next is the Colorado Avalanche. Had 82 points last season. There was an 88 overall last year. We're going to give them an 88 this year as well. I think, for the most part, their team stayed pretty solid from last year to this year. 2.59 goals per game, 20th. 2.93 goals allowed per game, 24th. They have a lot of great young forwards. Duchesne, Landeskog, McKinnon all did okay, but I think they are yet to reach their full potential. I think they can produce a lot better than what they did last year still. Tyson Barrie, on the other hand, is playing phenomenal at the age of 24. They still need a little help defensively, though, and Varlamov did post a 2.81 goals against average last year with a 914 save percentage, so that has to be put into effect or consideration, too, when giving them a goalie stat. Coming up next is the Minnesota Wild. We're going to give them an 89. Last year there was a 90. They had 87 points. They were a playoff team. That's why we're going to keep them at an 89. But I think their team's aging, so maybe an 88 wouldn't be surprising either. But their 2.60 goals per game last year was 19th in the league. 2.49 goals allowed was best for 9th in the league. Like I said, they're going to need to put something together quick, or it may be a few down years as the Wild wait for their young guys to develop. Because like I said, some of these guys, a lot of their players, their top 3-point producers to be exact, are over the age of 30. Koivu had 56 points, Parisi 53, and Suter had 51. Don't get me wrong, all those guys are still great players, but as age creeps up on them, their production is going to go down. They can't beat the Father of Time. At least most players can't. And another problem for them was no player scored 30 goals for them last year. That is kind of surprising. A lot of teams, there are some teams that don't get those 30 goal scorers, and the Wild are one of them, and that should definitely be considered when you're giving them an overall for their offense. Dubnyk, on the other hand, was quiet this year, but played very well. You didn't hear a lot about him, but he put a 918 save percentage, 2.33 goals against average. Played real well, so I expect to see him get a nice upgrade as well this season. Coming in at the next position is the St. Louis Blues. There was a 91 overall last year. We're going to give them a 90 this year. I think these next 2 or 3 teams are really interchangeable because they're all going to have real close overalls, but the 2.67 goals per game last year was 15th. 2.40 goals allowed per game was 4th. They were 2nd in the penalty kill. But, they lost some key players this offseason. That is the only reason I'm really bumping them down because, don't get me wrong, they're still a phenomenal team. No other reason, but, they lost back as Elliott Brower. So we're going to have to see how they play without these guys. Of course, Elliott was playing great for him last year. Backus, we all know the story behind him. Still have a solid defensive unit, though, and, with Parayko rising, of course, they got Shattenkirk, Pietrangelo, they got Tarasenko, scored 40 goals for him last year. Schwartz is going to be a bright star for them in the future as well, so it's definitely, they got some young guys that could bump that overall back up around a 91, but I'm going to put them at a 90 for the sake of you know, the loss of a couple of the players that they did indeed lose. Coming up next is the Chicago Blackhawks. They had 103 points last year, second in power play percentages. There was a 90 overall last year. We're going to give them a 90 this year. They had 2.85 goals per game last year. That was 6th best in the league. 2.52 goals against average is 11th. But they lost Teravainen, they lost Bickle, lost Ladd, lost Shaw. I mean, once again, salary cap has cost this team some players over the last 2 seasons. You know, they lost some guys last year because of the salary cap. They had to lose some guys this year. They did bring back Brian Campbell. So, you know, they got that, but they still are a strong offensive and defensive team. You can't take that away from these guys. Kane led the league in points with, what do you have, 106. Panarin and Taves continued to play great as well. Keith and Seabrook were solid at defense. Crawford, I give Crawford more credit than a lot of people will. I think he plays great back there at net. 2.37 goals allowed average, 924 save percentage. Like I said, he played good also in my opinion, but when you lose more guys like that, I think that it keeps their overall right around 90. Plus, they didn't go real deep into playoffs. They weren't, well, I guess I wouldn't say they wouldn't go real deep, but they didn't make the Stanley Cup is where I'm getting at, I guess. So I think they stay right around that 90 overall range because they did lose a couple players last season. Coming up next is the Dallas Stars. They had 109 points. It was an 89 overall last year, so we're going to bump them up to a 90 this year. Led the league in goals, or led the league in scoring last year, 3.323 goals per game, but there was 2.78 goals allowed per game, 19th. It was 4th best in the power play percentage. Now that power play percentage was high, but you know they were noticed for being great, but also not being so great at the power play. They had a streaky power play unit, but you know they had Ben Sagan, point per game. Spezza not far behind. Klingberg played great for them, you know, back there at defense, quarterbacking for them, 58 points. Their goaltending was not the strongest. Niemi had a 2.67, Lightning had a 2.76. Both of them were sub 910 save percentages, and that's the reason I think they don't see much higher than a 90. They have that potent offense, but their defense and goaltending has me a little questioning how high of the overall they're going to get. I mean, yeah, Klingberg's going to be great, give them a nice overall, but I'd be curious to see how high of an overall they give the rest of the defense on that team, and of course the goaltending as well. So we're going to stick them right at a 90. Finally coming in at number 1 is a 91 overall Nashville Predators. Like I said, you guys probably didn't expect this. I'm going to try to explain it. 2.73 goals per game last year as 12th. 2.60 goals allowed per game last year. And this team is full of a lot of young rising stars. This team was also a 91 overall last year. Don't let me get that wrong. Forsberg led the team in points, 64 points. Expect his overall to go up. Neal scored 30. They did obtain Johansson last year. He didn't score 70 points for him, obviously. He got some 40-some, but that's because he wasn't on a team very long. Expect him to have a great first full year for them. Josie has become an elite defenseman in his own, 61 points. Of course, they acquired Subban. Rene, though, had a down year, 2.48 goals against average, 908 save percentage. I expect him, he can bounce back. Great goalie. And the thing is with Rene, I don't know how low they'll lower his overall for that kind of year. I still think they'll keep it in the 90s because it is Pekka Rene. And, then you look at the rest of the guys on this team. Josie, Forsberg, Johansson. Expect to see these guys to get upgrades. There was a 91 last year. I don't see, from personnel standpoint, I don't see something that's going to say these guys are going to go down from a 91 last year. There was a 91 last year. Why would they go down? The guys they have, they don't look worthy of getting downgrades. That's the reason I still have them up this high, because there was a 91 last year. If there's a 90 last year, yeah, maybe give them a 90. But this year, there was a 91 last year. With the personnel on that team, I see them staying at that 91. So like I said, that doesn't mean that I'm saying they're going to win the division, but hopefully that makes sense why they have a 91 overall again coming into next season. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, as always, about who you think should be what overalls. Of course, I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of disagreements about this one, but, that's all right. We're all going to have different opinions. I'm just trying to think of guys, or their overalls going into the season, not how they're going to end the season. So let me know what you guys think. As always, guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.